Well, ladies and gentlemen, the roller coaster ride that was Leagues Cup has concluded, and your Philadelphia Union finish in 4th place. Well, but we still have a lot more soccer to get into. MLS regular season is back, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome everyone to PHLY Union Podcast. Of course, I am one of your hosts here today, JP Zapata, joined as always with the lovely Renee Washington, and producing today, we have Andrew Frazier. We have a little bit of some transfer news to start off from the jump. Our man, Tyler Zulli. We love him to death. He will have, if you guys haven't seen this morning, we announced it. We're welcoming to the All City, the PHLY family, John Marks. The John Marks Show will be here at PHLY. That's a little bit of bittersweet news because we do lose our Tyler Zulli, but we are extremely proud of Tyler as he will be co-hosting and co-producing with John Marks. But with $25 in GAM, we get Andrew Frazier as a producer.
There we go.
But welcome.
Breaking news.
Great, yeah.
We are so happy to have Andrew. As you guys, if you guys do watch anything Ariana Show, you know Andrew's love for soccer. So I'm excited to have him here. But guys, what's up? How we feeling? We got another week. MLS is back. How we feeling?
Feeling good. Feeling great.
Wow.
Excited.
I also feel excited. I feel like the time is flying by when you think about how many games are left. They were saying 9 games left in the regular season, and I just can't believe that's true. That can't be real. That's not real life.
Crazy
this
stuff.
season is flying by, but I'm excited because as we talked about before during the Leagues Cup run, like this is a different Union team. It's a new season. Like we're turning the page. Obviously, we'll talk through like the exact details of who's leaving, all that's going on. But, when you look at this group, it's going to be a very different makeup moving forward. And it's exciting, but also very scary at the same time because it's just leaves me with some question marks and uncertainty. But I think we need that.
No, I feel like every time you blink, someone's leaving. It's pretty crazy. It's like who could be next? No, it's this team is very different. Has a very different look from what it looked like in the beginning of the year to now. And it's a journey that we're all going to go through. We all want to change. Here's the change. It's coming. There are parts of this team that might be a little thinner than others, and we'll definitely get into that. But I'm hopefully optimistic about the future of this team moving forward and seeing what they will produce and what they could potentially become.
It's so funny because we asked for, just a little bit of a change, right? Like just add some new players in the squad. But the thing is that we asked for that in the winter, Mark, because that's obviously our off season. It's obviously completely different than the rest of the world. We'd expect it in the middle of the season to go through some of these changes. And guys, Julian Carranza is gone. And then let's talk about some of the departures here as well. So we'll start off with the one we talked about last week, but it became official yesterday. Jose El Brujo Martinez, as we all know, is heading to Brazil. He's going to Corinthians. No, not with the Eagles. He's going to actually go play for Corinthians. It's very bittersweet. I don't know if you guys saw the tribute video. I couldn't help but get a little choked up. Obviously you think of it a little bit as a fan, and you remember, when Jose arrived here, it was such a weird time because he comes in the season during COVID, and people really just fell in love with him. And he really exemplified Philadelphia. And, he talked about it in that interview after that was at the Montreal match. Philly's a second home. And that's the stuff that, gives you like those goosebumps, right? Like he loves Philadelphia. He played for the badge, as they say. And so he's headed off to Corinthians. We'll see what his future holds there. Don't expect him to start right away, but we know Jose. He did the same thing here in Philadelphia. He will find his way on the pitch. Renee?
Yeah. 108 appearances for Jose Martinez. 100 of those were starts during his 5 seasons here. And when you look at when you look at when he first debuted, you mentioned it back in 2020 against LAFC, March 8th, when he from there moving forward, his first goal with the club, June 21st of 2023, that incredible 90th minute goal against Orlando City, goal of the week, Sports Center top 10 with that goal. What a great first goal for El Brujo. But for him to have had the success that he did, where he was able to become an all-star, he was able to become an integral part against this group, and someone that you saw as the face of the team. I know we had talked about it, and even I guess it was the offseason that we were talking through the numbers that came out that even shocked us. The highest selling jersey sales for any Union player was Lowe Martinez. And he was like, I think top 10 across the league. So to see how much he came into this team and you weren't sure what you were going to get from him, he became such an intricate part of not only the midfield, but really the foundation of what makes this group that blue collar, gritty team that's no matter what the odds are, no matter who they're playing, they're going to go in and battle. You always knew you were going to get him aggressive, feisty, great in transition, winning 50-50s, laying it all out there, leaving it on the pitch. And it is very bittersweet. It's very sad. But I think the hard part is we've all been talking about the Union need to make changes. They need to switch up the core of this group. It's been the same group year after year. Many people are ready to come out with pitchforks and everything and complain and protest for the Union because their lack of moves. They're finally making moves, and unfortunately, it's not who you would expect. It's very surprising. I agree with you, Andrew. It feels like at this point, every day it's like, who's next? But this was like the first of that big move of like, oh, wait a minute. Ernst Tanner and the Union, they're not playing games. Like, it may feel like they're being very slow to pull the trigger on some decisions and roster acquisitions and moves. But make no mistake about it, between the addition of Sam Adeniran and Danley Jean-Jacques, and now looking at Jose Martinez departure, Damion Lowe's departure, there's a lot more going on with this team. So happy for El Brujo, but also now nervous about what this means for the midfield makeup of the Union moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, bittersweet is the exact word I would use as well. You know, I don't think there was anybody else on this squad that embodied the city of Philadelphia more than Jose. You know, he had the animation, you know, the expression out there. He brought the feelings to the pitch. You know, he was that chippy. You know, he was aggressive. He was everything that a Philadelphian is when it comes to sports. So it was super easy for us as a whole, as a city, to, you know, get around him and feel his emotion, feel that on the field, and to have him leave, it stinks because, you know, he's such a sweetheart to the city. And it definitely is super bittersweet because, like you said, you know, you loved him. He brought so much stuff to the team. He brought so many great memories to our team here in Philadelphia, so many exciting moments. But at the end of the day, you know, he's also moving somewhere where he's going to better his career. He's going to become a better player. He's going to go into a bigger competition pool. And I'm excited to see what happens for him. I'm excited to see his experience there, his growth, his development. Like you said, JP, he's probably not going to start right away, but you know who he is. We all know who he is, and he's going to fight for a position there. So, you know, it's exciting.
No, absolutely. And I think an important part of it, Brujo, and listen, you know, Renee, we've talked about it before. Like, there's things on the pitch he definitely frustrates you with. But one thing that was so important about his game, we always kill the Union because they don't buy the big players, right? Like, we're a big mark in this country. We're not after the Messi types, right? The Suarez types. But El Brujo, anytime you went up against Inter Miami, a Club America, a team of the Orthodox, like, he brought this chippiness and he brought this attitude. Like, he did not care who you were on the other side. He was looking to win the match, right? And like, I remember some of, like, you know, him getting into with Messi last year, even though we lost that match in Leagues Cup, or when Gonzalo Higuain, his first match, doesn't even know, probably never even heard of Chester, Pennsylvania. Maybe he's never even heard of Philadelphia. He comes in, he's thinking he's going to get a nice little walk in the park in his first MLS match. And here comes Brujo Martinez getting in his face. And those are just the moments that you'll just remember at Brujo. And like, you know, I brought up that discussion on Twitter. It's like, yo, like, this era of Union soccer, like, there's a bunch of dudes on this team that we've had over the past couple of years that, you know, when we look in the future, 10, 20 years down the line, these are some of the players that are going to set the standard what Union soccer is, that gold standard of Philadelphia Union soccer. And Lowe Martinez is one of those players. You know, when you're developing a 6, 5, 10 years down the line, you're going to show clips of Lowe Martinez and some of the things he did on the pitch. And so we obviously lost the cornerstone of our club, but that's how soccer works, ladies and gentlemen. I know, like just like they were talking about in the town hall meeting, it definitely sucks losing Carranza. It sucks losing Lowe Martinez. But every club is going through this, not only in this league, but around the world. And the challenge is finding those next guys. And, Renee, you brought up the death. That's going to be an interesting question. And obviously, right now, we have a little bit to kind of look at with Danley. I personally believe Jesus Bueno should have that role there. But when you consider what you brought it or what you spent for Danley and where Danley kind of came from, I can kind of understand that. But I kind of throw that question here to you guys. What should we do now at the 6?
Yeah. I mean, listen, just to your point about the Corinthians and their success, they are 17th in the table for Serie A, and they are also a team that has won a lot. They've won 2 FIFA Club World Cups, Copa Libertadores, Copa Sudamericana, 30 state championships. The list goes on and on for the amount of hardware that they've won. He is stepping into a winning culture, and Martinez is going to be someone that we'll be watching from afar to see how El Brujo transitions in to help be a part of that success. I know their fans are kind of wondering, who is this guy? What are we getting with him? We know you're getting a dog, a fighter, a guy that loves the game, a guy that leaves it all out there, and a guy that now is going to be a tough piece to replace because of the fact that the midfield is such a position you need depth. You need to have whether you're running with a 3 midi or a diamond midfield, whatever it is, you need to have backups for each spot. And I think for Jose, one of the things that I used to, now that we can look ahead and get some closure because we're moving on from him, one of the things that I used to complain about is he doesn't really give you enough offensively. And in the way that the game is evolving, you don't traditionally just have anybody that just is strictly defensive or strictly offensive. Even goalkeepers are getting involved in the attack. And that's something that teams are looking for, even a goalkeeper that can start your possession and build up out of the back. You need guys that can play on both sides of the ball. And it felt like at times Jose Martinez, one of his things that I was frustrated with is he was trying to do too much offensively because that wasn't really his nature. His game was truly being the 6 that sits in the gaps, stops transition, a ball winner, good at switching the point of attack, good at 50-50s, good at helping you control possession, but he wasn't that final third or even building out of the back crafty type of a midfielder. So Danley is someone that I'm excited to see how he progresses because I think, based off what we've heard and what we've seen in such a small sample size, he has a little bit more of an offensive mindset and actually seems more similar to how Leon Flock plays, where you get the balance of being a guy that's flexible, can play on the winger of a diamond midfield, can play as a 6, but also can get you forward, can be someone that is more natural when they get forward and reading the game with the runs, with their passes. And that's something I think the Union were missing. So I think between Danley, Leon, and Jesus, they really should carry the load of more of that defensive role. And then, of course, you have around them now with Ali, Quinn, Danny, whoever's in the midfield, Jack, other playmakers. But I'm hoping that they actually can switch from having the traditional defensive mid and have more of a free-flowing midfield. I think beyond just the actual personnel, this should be a time. We saw them roll out a 4-3-3 in the third place match. This should be the time that I'd like to see the Union get to a little bit more of a free-flowing midfield where it's not as structured and as rigid, but it's a little bit more free-flowing. Sometimes Leon gets forward and maybe Danley holds. Sometimes Danley gets forward and maybe Jesus holds. Have more of that balanced midfield where it's more unpredictable and more dynamic. Because in this league, with the acquisitions that we're seeing, with the talent that we're seeing, you need that. You need middies that aren't just the 6, the 10, the 8, the 11, but are going to be able to kind of interchange and really unbalance to be able to control the tempo. So I hope this is actually a change, not only for personnel, but also to get this team to be able to be a little less structured and predictable in their buildups.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said, Renee, and totally echo everything that you just said. So I will talk about the Premier League ad nauseum with you guys because I'm a big fan of it. But I use it as a gold standard for soccer because that is the top of the top, the cream of the crop. That is where we want to see soccer here become. That's what our end goal is. And if you watch those guys, you're exactly what you said, to the point that you said. There aren't players anymore that just attack. There isn't just players anymore that just play offense or defense. They play everything. They're multi-tooled players. And yes, that is what we need to start bringing here to the Union, to Philadelphia, is those guys that can be diverse in their performance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you look at a Trent Alexander-Arnold. That dude can snipe a goal from outside the box at any time on the pitch. And he is a defender. He's a right back, you know. So you need guys like that. That is what's going to bring the next level of competition here to the MLS. I mean, you look at the other teams around the MLS, and they're starting to incorporate those guys here. That's what we need to start doing.
Yeah, and you get that from Kai Wagner. You get that from Nate Harrell at outside back. Obviously, you get that from your front forwards. But the midfield has been one of the areas, honestly, of weakness for the Union. Like, you look at, to your points, Andrew, comparing them to other midfields, there was not enough of play through them. It's been a lot down the wide flanks. It's been a lot back to front. You need a midfield that's really going to control the game. I always say this because I was a midfielder. That's your role, is to be the one that sets the tempo and gets your team forward, the facilitator. And they haven't had those pieces. Jack McGlynn's been evolving into that. Quinn's definitely, with his runs, his movement, evolving into that. But you need more of those guys that can give you that fluidity in how you're playing, and versus it feeling very old school. No, let's evolve with the times and play similar to what you're seeing from the Premier League and the top clubs.
Yeah, I mean, look at some of the best guys that play the game. You know, you have Jude Bellingham, you have Phil Foden, you have Cole Palmer, you have Diogo Jota. Those guys are multi-tool guys that can at any time, you know, can really put you on your heels.
Mm-hmm.
That is right. That is right. And obviously, listen, I love what Renee is saying, changing up a little bit of the midfield. Let's take a little bit of a risk, guys, and let's change up the way the midfield looks. And somewhere else you guys can take a little couple of risk and possibly be successful as well, as with our friends over at Parks Casino. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk real quick about our friends over at Parks, because, guys, if you are feeling lucky, I want you guys to check them out right now with their sports book. If you're feeling the Union down the line, maybe, listen, Columbus, another freaking title. I know. But from MLS, from MLB, from the Premier League, like Andrew loves as well, whatever it may be, the BetParks Sportsbook app has you guys covered, and BetParks has your seat at the table with live dealers for all of your classic casino games, and it's available right now on your cellular device. Play Baccarat, Live Roulette, and play Blackjack with a live dealer. Plus, play hundreds of exciting online slots, and I am proud to exclusively recommend BetParks. It's the only online casino and sports betting app that I use for myself. And of course, we are still in summer, so whether if you are at the beach, on the boat, at the boardwalk, the Poconos, campground, the lake, or even in your backyard, ladies and gentlemen, make your downtime fun time. Plus, BetParks is a proud official betting operator of the PGA Tour. The BetParks Sportsbook app has lots of ways to bet on PGA golf. Download the BetParks app and enjoy all the action excitement from the casino right at your fingertips. Odds, bets, slots, and games right now in your pocket, and a great offer for new users. The BetParks online casino and sportsbook app right now, and get up to 1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. Casino bonus must be wagered. BetParks.com for more details. If you must be 21 and older in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, Ohio, or Michigan. If you do have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. You love to play. You play to win. You bet BetParks. Thank you to our friends over at BetParks.
All right. Well, as we're trying to talk through what could be the right decision for the midfield, let's talk about the right decision for your allergies, your hydration, your snacks, and everything else you may need. That's with our friends over at Rite Aid, because, guys, it is fall allergy season. That begins as early as this month in August, can last all the way through into November. And with that, you want to make sure, as you're dealing with the allergies that are caused from dust mites and sagebrush and tumbleweed, pigweed, pet dander, and fur, for all of you guys that have adorable dogs and pets like Andrew and JP do, you are dealing with allergies that may cause the watery eyes, the snifflies, the runny nose, the coughing and sneezing, and it's frustrating for sure. And as your body's dealing with those allergic reactions, and your immune system is dealing with releasing histamines to fight off those allergens, all of these things are causing these symptoms, and you don't want to have to deal with the wheezing and the runny nose and the watery eyes and everything else that comes with it. So with Rite Aid, they provide you with plenty of options for relief these days, bless you, They offer you relief during allergy season. And so they have some tips for you, whether it's using a dehumidifier or showering frequently. Yes, shower some more, guys. Checking your pollen counts, keeping your windows closed, and using an air conditioner so you're not getting pollen that's coming into your house. There are tons of tips that they have for you. And when you sign up for Rite Aid Rewards emails at riteaid.com/rewards, you get emails with everything around pollen alerts and updates for your area. So they've got that for you, as well as just over-the-counter options that are available. They've got their nasal rinses. They've got the neti pot. They've got different medications like their Rite Aid brands of allergy relief that you can now take advantage of with Rite Aid. So the beauty about Rite Aid is they also have pharmacists always ready on site to answer any questions you have, direct you in the right aisle or towards the right medication to make sure you can get that relief for any types of allergies you're dealing with. Their pharmacists are knowledgeable, they're friendly, they're personable, and they can help you out. So Rite Aid, which has the Elo Market with its pantry items and snacks, it's got its hydrating coconut waters and different refreshing drinks, also has allergy relief, plus anything else you may need. Sunblock, sunscreen, whatever you're looking for, take advantage of all the great things that Rite Aid has to offer to simplify and make sure you can conveniently find all those products you're looking for you and your family during the season.
Awesome stuff. All right. Thank you, Renee.
That sneeze was a very barky puppy.
That was my next guess. So your puppy must have heard me talking about pet dander and allergies and was like,
oh yeah,
too. I'm right here talking about me.
Allergic to the guy.
Right here.
No. It's just my dog. I said puppy, but he's allergic to the guy who's power washing his roof. That's he heard him banging around, so that's why he just barked.
That was a cute little bark. It sounded like a sneeze a little bit. That's like not one of you guys right on cue sneezing during the allergy read.
Excuse me.
Sounds like cuz. All right, let's talk real quick about the other dealing that happened. This one also went official after El Brujo, but Damion Lowe, yes, ladies and gentlemen, he is on his way to Saudi Arabia to Al Dude, I'm hoping I'm saying that right. I saw the dude in there, and I wanted to say the Dude Club, but Alcohol Dude. He's off to Saudi Arabia.
How I say it.
Yeah, right. Like we probably definitely need
silent in there. I think the H is a little silent, so Alcohol Dude to sound.
Alcohol Dude.
Well, we're gonna need a Saudi Arabia soccer expert here to help us out with these, because obviously this isn't like gonna go away. I think a lot more players are gonna be going down there, so it'd be very useful to. But yeah, Damion Lowe's gonna go up against the Cristiano Ronaldos, the Sadio Mane's. I think Benzema's still kicking around. I'm not too sure about that one, but this is good for Damion, and like Jim talked about as well. Saudi Arabia obviously has money, and when they throw the money at Damion Lowe, the Union are like, well, yeah, we're not gonna beat that. Sorry, buddy. Enjoy your time over in Saudi Arabia. But the bigger concern, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that Damion's gone. And when you now look at the depth at center back, it's pretty damn thin. Okay. Like this is a little bit similar to Stuart Finley, although you do have all the way through here, which we are all still wondering what do we have with the guy we signed with the U22 initiative. Jim also brought up in today's presser the thing I don't like, Renee, putting Nathan Harriel at center back. I don't like that. I know he can play. I don't like it, though. But this is a concern, all right, because we have 9 MLS matches like we talked about. We have MLS Cup playoffs still. We're hoping to make a run. Glezes and Elliott, as we all have been talking about all season long, they haven't been playing really good like we in the past. So this is definitely a bit of a concern, guys.
I would be feeling so much more comfortable with this move if we had – earlier last season, even Jacob and Jack, and seeing how they're playing, it's very concerning. Honestly, this is not a move based off what we're hearing that the Union were interested in. In terms of Julian Carranza, they were actively involved with that conversation. Even Jose Martinez, it felt like it was much more back and forth because we also got the leak of it. Then Jose played another game. He got his final game. We got to see the penalty kick the moment, and then it took some time. Damion Lowe was gone. I mean, people were tweeting out like he's already in Saudi Arabia. Like the deal is done. This is not a possible. It happened. Like when we first heard it, the deal was done. So when the Saudi Arabian money comes into play, there's no negotiating. There's no going back and forth. And there's definitely no way the Union can compete because as one of the teams that spends the least amount of money in the MLS, you're not competing with the most expensive league right now in the world. So for him, congrats, exciting news, because that is, as you mentioned, JP, it's obviously a league on the rise that's attracting a lot of the best talent in the world. Huge step for him in his career, but a huge regression for the Union to not have a third center back. And you are in a stretch right now where your center backs are not even playing well. You look at the second half of the match versus the Rapids. You look at it just the season as a whole, from the very opening game of Jakob Glesnes scoring on us against Andre Blake on a back pass. Like, it's been a really frustrating season for the back line as a whole. It's been very inconsistent. It's been very concerning. Now, we pinpointed a lot of those concerns to Andre Blake's injury. And since he's been back, they've looked way better. But this is a center back duo that is unfortunately having had played a lot of minutes and has been, as we talked about with Jose, kind of the big core of this group for so long that opponents had the playbook on them. And so I'm extremely concerned that not only is there no depth and the best options next are Nate or even Kai, the fact that you don't even have two center backs you can confidently trust for the remainder of this season. You're talking about closing out, needing to win games. Obviously, does not get easier from here as you look ahead. You got Columbus coming up. But yeah, after that, it's even the Red Bulls, Miami, NYCFC, DC, Atlanta. The conclusion of this season is really difficult. And they're trying to win points, win games, climb the table. And we have to rely solely on trusting Jack and Jakob, who we have two of the players that we unfortunately haven't been able to trust this entire season.
Yeah, it's definitely concerning how thin, the center back position is. It is scary because, those guys that you just said also didn't get any breaks during like the international play. When Euros and Copa America were going on, they were the ones that were there on the line defending. So Nate and those guys, they at least got the chance to have those breaks, but it's going to be concerning to see down this stretch, these next 9 games, their workload, how much we're going to be putting on these guys. And like you said, to put trust in them right now, after seeing what we've been seeing through this year and, kind of last year, is it enough to put faith on these guys? I don't really feel like it is, and, Damion Lowe, if we had seen the writing on the wall that this was going to be a done deal, signed and delivered, he was going to be leaving, it would have been great for the Union to have some kind of, measure to kind of, have a precaution for this. So we can say, hey, we need somebody to kind of fill in because we know Damion's not happy here or whatnot, and he's going to leave. I don't know the full story of why he left. I thought there might have been a little bit of shade going on. I saw some stuff, but I could be making that up.
What'd you say?
I saw like a tweet or something that he sent out. It was like, if they don't believe in you or something like that. I'm paraphrasing.
I think that was the Instagram story or post that he put up. I'm assuming it's a story because I just looked at his Instagram account. There's nothing on there from that. But yeah, that was very cryptic. And I think we talked about it on the show when he put it up. But yeah, it just kind of felt like someone who just didn't feel appreciated by their employer or by somebody, which obviously you put 2 and 2 together as a Union fan. You're thinking, oh, okay, so maybe they didn't want you back. And obviously, you look at his contract situation. There was no contract after this year. So probably Damion went up to the Unions like, hey, I want such and such. And you're like, well, we don't really see you at that number there. And so Damion looked us elsewhere. I think before he played in Egypt, if I'm not mistaken. So he's
played in Egypt, yeah.
He's playing different leagues. So, he takes a look at Saudi Arabia, that club probably threw some more money, and there you go. There's your appreciation.
Do we know how much money he's going to get from them? Has that come out or anything confirmed? Or
question?
I haven't seen the exact numbers. We know it's a 2-year. It is a 2-year deal that they've released that information. To your point, JP, he did play with Inter Miami, Seattle, Minnesota, and then in Egypt. Mm-hmm. And so for Damion, with his contract ending, and there was no discussion of an extension or any plans for the future with him with the Union, it did feel like, unfortunately, they got to a point where they had to choose. Now, with Jose, we also had heard cryptic messages. So also when his move happened, I wasn't surprised because it seemed like they had reached the point where it was like, we can't continue. They're going in a different direction. Damion, what's surprising is because of the 3 center backs, it felt like at some point they were going to choose 2 of them. And one was going to be at the door. It's hard to remove a defensive player of the year. It's hard to remove a captain. It's hard to move a guy but in both of those guys that have been the anchor of your back line for so long, Damion's the new one. He's the last one in the back line, first one out, so to speak. So I'm a little frustrated by it because of the fact that I'm like, I thought they could have even gone with a 3 backup points to get all of them on the pitch. Like they were struggling to find a way to get all of them out there. We know we had heard the talks of Damion or even Jack playing in the 6, but they never figured out a way to best utilize all 3 of them. And Brendan Craig, this is not the first time we've heard or seen the Union struggling with talented center backs to find a spot for them on the pitch. The hard part is, as you look at those 9 games, you play the Columbus Crew twice, you play Orlando City, you play Inter Miami, you're going up against some really good offensive teams. Cincinnati, it's a very tough 9 games. I mean, the season as a whole has been tough, but it's about to get even tougher. So now you're going into a stretch where you have to rely on these guys to be fresh, be ready. Your only substitution is Olivier Mbaizo. That's the only backup option you have for any role is Olivier Mbaizo to then have to slot and maybe move Nate or Kai because Oweithu Makanya, we haven't seen anything that let us think he's close to being ready. So this is very concerning because their back line has already been under a lot of pressure. We saw that the last 2 Leagues Cup games, Columbus, Colorado. Are you either of you walking away from those games overly optimistic about what this defensive unit has? Like the midfield has depth, has backup options outside of Jose. The back line actually needed to add pieces, not lose pieces. I feel like they need to bring in a better guy, a center back, to be honest. Like not to lose a center back with no plans in the foreseen future of who they're going to add. This is concerning.
Real quick, so according to Transfer Market, it looks like the transfer fee was 179,000 euros. So I'm assuming $180,000. So what's interesting though is that back in 2023, we got Damion Lowe from Inter Miami for $206,000. So obviously the Union are just trying to make something out of the player, considering the fact that they didn't plan on bringing him back after the season. So it's definitely a loss, but it's a plus because you're still going to make some money instead of making no money by letting him walk after his contract. And Renee, to your point, that's a really good point because if you guys remember, Gleza suffered the injury at the end of last year where he missed a playoff game, and then in the Cincinnati match, he couldn't even play. And you had Damion Lowe for that time period. So now you have to rely. And it's so funny that, like, you know, even at the town hall meeting, like their plan for the congested schedule with the squad was they were hoping everyone would stay healthy. Well, you really need to hope that your 2 center backs absolutely stay healthy and that they're playing at the high level that we know that they can play at. So it's a little bit messy.
That's very concerning. And then I know they have even mentioned, of course, Ali Bedoya's played outside back, Leon Flog's played outside back, but this is not, you don't want to have to band-aid solutions of moving guys that haven't played those positions in a while. Like, yes, they've played there before in their career, but we're talking about your back line in the last stretch of the regular season where you need to be at your best. And unfortunately, it just seems like there's no plan to invest for the future in the foreseen future because there's no plans for what they're going to do next. But you know what? There is a place that you can plan for your future and be ready for whatever is next, guys. That is with our friends over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. So let me tell you about TrueMark Financial Credit Union because they provide you with tons of benefits, a home equity line of credit. They have their the low fees. They've got their financial rewards Visa credit card. They have tons of options for you to be able to track your spending with their mobile app. And also they have a debit card that earns you reward points. So with TrueMark Financial, you have the ability that every time you select credit instead of debit at checkout, you will earn CU rewards points. And as those points add up, you can redeem them for cash, for travel, for retail gift cards, for merchandise, and much more. You can also monitor your credit scores through TrueMark with Savvy Money, which allows you to regularly check your credit score for financial errors or just awareness. It also allows you to protect against identity theft by monitoring for any unauthorized activities. Plus, you can build that financial stability by just improving your overall credit habits to maintain a healthy score. And over at TrueMark, they have a lot of great benefits that you can take advantage of. And also, in addition to them doing all this great work, since they are federally insured by the NCUA and an equal opportunity lender, you can check out more information at TrueMark.com/PHLY because they also have a pickleball tournament coming up. TrueMark has an exciting pickleball tournament. They are taking advantage of a chance to give back to the community. It is actually September 7th, my birthday, and it's at the Upper Dublin Sports Center in Ambler, Pennsylvania. from 1:30 to 5 p.m., a round robin tournament, fun, non-competitive event. And it's a great chance because TrueMark Financial Cares Foundation is hosting this charitable pickleball event to raise money for financial education in our local communities. We had a chance to partner with TrueMark for our golf outing for those that were able to attend. And now you get a chance to attend the TrueMark pickleball tournament as well, to be a part of the fun September 7th, which is next weekend, and be able to play. They've got paddles and balls available. They also have a certified pickleball pro on site that will help teach you about the game. Plus, the cost is just $50 and it benefits the charity. All players are going to get a swag bag and you get a fun day. The swag is going to be from TrueMark and us here at PHLY, but a fun day to get involved. And you can also even get involved as a sponsor to have your logo on display at the event, with sponsorship running from $200 to $1,000. So even if you don't play pickleball, get out and enjoy. You can still support the event. There will be food, beer trucks on site. A percentage goes to all towards the charity, but they're going to have music and lawn games and cornhole and 50-50 raffles and fun prizes as well as giveaways. So lots of fun to be able to enjoy that pickleball event. And I know we have some of our crew that's going to be there as well. So if you wanted to register for that, TrueMark.com/PHLY pickleball is the spot to sign up. And when you sign up as a friend of ours here at PHLY, you actually get a 10% discount on registration. So again, TrueMark.com/PHLY pickleball.
Oh, I love it. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, look, the Union definitely can be stressful. We all know they've been stressing us all out. We're up, we're down, we're up, we're down. We don't know what to think of this squad. We just sold Carranza, we just sold El Brew, we just sold Damion Lowe. So it's very stressful. And I understand. I sympathize with all of you guys. That's why just do what I do. All right. When the Union are stressing me out, you got to sit back, relax, and crack open one of those cold Coors Light, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And a big shout out to Coors Light for being our sponsor here today. Look, it's the beer of choice. All right. Obviously, all summer long, it's been hot. You know, we're sitting outside. You want something nice, cold, and refreshing. I do like some of the hoppier beers, the craft beers, but Coors Light, they go down like water, and it's very, very smooth, very refreshing. And when the mountains turn blue, it's as cold as the Rockies. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a much smoother finish. And when you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open that Coors Light. Coors Light is a mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. So, guys, right now, all right, for this upcoming Union match here tomorrow, or whether this weekend, right, or for the Phillies, or hey, if you're going down to the Young Miko concert on Saturday, I'll be drinking some of those Coors Lights beforehand as well, safely. So, guys, right now, Coors Light is doing something really cool for us. If you go to CoorsLight.com/PHLY soccer, you can get it delivered straight to your front door by Instacart. All right, it's awesome. You don't have to go to the beer store or the liquor store. It gets delivered right to your front step. All right, so again, CoorsLight.com/PHLY soccer, and let them know that your friends at PHLY Union sent you there. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado, which is a great segue, guys, because we lost a game on Sunday to those Colorado Rapids. The Pids. I by the way, I didn't know they go by the Pids until DNVR.
That's not a great nickname.
Rapids.
I don't like that.
That's not great. It sounds like something to do with the bathroom, or like inappropriate. Like there's just everything that my mind goes to when I hear the Pids makes me think of either like pee or like something even worse, like peds, like pedophiles.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
It's just like there's nothing positive that I think of when I hear the word pids.
Yeah,
just not, whoever came up with that clearly needs to consult us, because there's so many other things they could have went with.
Why are you not going with raps? Like at least you get raps. Rapids, the raps.
Just get the Rapids. Actually, like you already have a team nickname. Don't nickname the nickname.
Yeah, you don't need to shorten that.
Why don't you be the crap?
Rapid, easy.
Just be the crap. The C raps together make the crap at this point, because that's what the nickname is. Crap.
Well, we're now going to get a great message on Slack from Denver.
Sorry, guys.
Great, but
our friends over at DNVR Rapids. Sorry about that, but the nickname Pids sounds like you guys are child pedophile or something.
To be
beat us, we can be better. All right, we're allowed to be better.
To be fair, they do a lot of. They do a lot of things bad over there. I mean, they definitely need a new stadium. I think one of the worst decisions that they ever made, if you guys remember, in the OG MLS days, they wore green and white, and I thought those were, and black shorts. I love that kit, or that kit combination. That was absolutely beautiful. especially when Carlos Valderrama used to don it. But this Rapids team is a little bit different.
And out right now, JP.
Come on, I had to throw a Colombian reference in there. Come on, guys. But this third place match is very simple to kind of sum up here, right? So obviously you lose out on a CCC spot, which sucks. But the big thing here, guys, is that you had Zach Steffen, who we know very well, shouts to Delco, stepped up, and he was the best player on the pitch through the whole 90 minutes, the penalty shootout, and that's the difference. Where did we hear that story before? Oh, that's right, in the semifinals against the Columbus Crew, where not one but two players stepped up huge in that matchup with Cucho Hernandez and Diego Rossi absolutely dominating for the Columbus Crew. Now, granted, listen, Andre Blake usually is that player, especially when you're talking about the goalie position. Andre Blake's typically taking over the match. But it's, again, the same narrative. Someone stepping up in a huge way for the team. And I know it's like a third-place match, and, like, you know, it's not the end of the world losing that, but you did miss out on CCC. But it's just the same narrative coming out again.
I'm all right that they missed out on that, to be completely honest. I mean, this year, when they started the year, you could tell it really had a strain on them, you know, having to play so many games. I don't think this squad is ready for like higher competition like that.
That's a problem. Then.
Well, it's a problem, but I think to help them, you know, hopefully they make some, you know, changes in the off season. They get some guys to come in here. Obviously, the transfer market's closed, so the squad that is the squad that's going to be the squad that finishes off the year. But to be honest, I don't feel like they're ready for the higher competition. And I think having them just start a normal season next year, not having to worry about, you know, going here, going there on a Tuesday, then coming back here, you know, on a Saturday, then having to leave down to Mexico for another Tuesday, and then going to Costa Rica here. It was really a lot for them this year already. And I think next year, this is do a nice little even coast in there, gradually get yourself together, find your identity, figure out who you are, bring in some players that are going to help this team, and then just build. And then hopefully by next year, you're ready for that higher level competition.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, there's a couple consistent themes that we're hearing and seeing from the Union. Both of those losses, I think one of the things that actually frustrated me that we haven't seen from the Union in a while is the proximity of those goals being scored. You know, you look at Columbus, they score first of all, shout out to the Columbus is just a very good team. And I know it's frustrating because the Union are not that. They're not there. They don't have, they haven't done the work that the Crew have done. You look at Diego Rossi, who gets a brace. He has had a couple of braces in Leagues Cup play alone. He's been on a scoring tear of his own, but scores early on in the game. You're down 1-0. You're clawing back. Danny Gazdag equalizes. You're feeling good about it. But then after that, within the next 15 minutes of Danny's goal, you give up 2 goals. And the same thing happened again against Colorado. You look at the timing of those goals. It was like 11 minutes from the first goal to the 4th goal that was scored in that match. And so here you go from being down in a situation, you're again chasing the game as the Rapids got on the scoreboard first behind Calvin Harris's goal off the feed from Navarro. And this is in the final minutes of the first half. You're nearing the end of the first half and preparing for stoppage time. You give up a goal, and then Tai Baribo, who we'll talk about for sure because he's been fantastic, scores back-to-back goals, gets a brace. And now you go from being down to in a matter of about 6-7 minutes, you're leading. But then you give up a goal in stoppage time and you go into the break tied up. You can't have this swing of the emotional roller coaster because it's exhausting as a player. You go from chasing the game to tied up to winning to chasing again. It's too much. And unfortunately, this team had been finally getting to a point once we saw the return of Andre Blake where they were getting back to that of not having the swing, not having the emotional roller coaster and the chaos of the ups and downs, and playing much more consistent. And when you go up against these top teams, I think what we saw in both games is they don't have enough. And I know in the chat, we're getting some great comments from John and Ivan about the talent that's on a team. Like you have Cucho Hernandez and Diego Rossi for Columbus, for example. You know, the Union don't have that. And I think these types of matches, to your point, Andrew, remind you they're not there yet. Because they have enough to compete with these teams for half. they're not able to put together a full game. Colorado, the second half was garbage. The reason they can't put together a full game is because they're not there yet. They don't have the talent. They don't have the depth. And so their top players, Danny Gazdag, I know he missed a PK and everyone's pissed off about that. God forbid he misses. Danny Gazdag, Tai Baribo, Andre, Quinn, like their top players are competing. Their top players look good. Even Ua actually looked good. He's been playing much better since he didn't start a couple games ago. So you're getting the production of your top, but it's that next tier that's not there. And so it's hard to maintain that for a full 90 minutes because you're just trying to weather the storm. You're trying to keep up. And at some point, it's going to show that you don't belong on the field. So I think both of those games were frustrating because I know a lot of people were pissed off on social media and complaining. This team missing out on CCC is a good thing. Focus on resetting, get the foundation higher, get the confidence, bring in some more depth. You actually have to make some roster acquisitions. Definitely now you've lost one of your best forwards, one of your best midfielders, and another center back. So right down the middle, you've lost players in the last couple months. So rebuild there, and then just start to focus on like the next 9 games being good, and then let's crawl into the off season and prepare for next year. Like that's kind of where my mind's at this point. Like just close out. I'm not expecting anything in the next 9 games, but just close out and give us good soccer, something positive to end on, so that you can now start to bring in an ad for the future.
Unfortunately, guys, you both are right. And that's and like you guys are right, and that's the problem. And like think about it. This fan base is upset because of exactly what you guys are bringing up. This club has been consistently competitive within the tops of the Eastern Conference, the top of the MLS since 2020. So no, it's 2000. Let's start 2019 in there because that's when they really began their ascension to what they are right now. So that's 5 seasons, right? This core has been intact for 3+ seasons, essentially, right? And they have been there. They have been right there since 2021. They have been right there. And the reason why this fan base is upset, because you stack this club up next to the Columbus Crew. This team is equal, except in 2 spots. Cucho Hernandez and Diego Rossi, and that match played out exactly the way it was supposed to play out. Both those 2 players excelled the Crew, and that's why the Union were put into that third place match there. And this is why the fan base is upset. The smart portion of the fan base understands that no, we don't need Messi, we don't need Suarez, we don't need Griezmann. But what we need is a guy like Cucho, a guy like Diego Rossi, a guy like Chico Rango. Those aren't insane salaries. And so that's why it is frustrating here. And look, yes, I didn't care, if they won CC or won Leagues Cup, right? I don't care that if they punched their ticket to CCC with that 3rd place finish. I didn't care. But the fact is that club told all of us that they were going all in on Leagues Cup, that they were looking to bring some hardware. Right. And they didn't do that. They set that standard for all of us to expect for them to reach, and they didn't do it. And you saw the same issues that we have seen in CCC, CCL. You name the tournament, you name the competition, the same problems arise. This is a really good soccer team, but they are just missing that 1, maybe 2 pieces that will excel them. And as this league keeps evolving, you're going to see more. Yes, you're going to see more of those star players arrive here, those from Europe. But you're also are going to see some of the smaller market teams also find those players that you should be going out and paying for, right? And like, heck, who's to say that Chicago actually gets it right? And next year they actually get an athletic director who puts them in the right direction, and then there's another team that you're competing with. You are going to allow time to slip away from you if you stop being stubborn. Just stop it. You set the foundation. Now it is time to take the next step, and it is time to evolve. And this is why we're frustrated.
Yeah, and I want to get some love in the chat because I see some really good comments you guys are weighing on. John is mentioning, there's no way that Jim and Ernst aren't asking for that, and you don't believe that line for a second because, as Ivan was mentioning, to Jim's comments in a press conference recently, saying how Cucho Hernandez and Diego Rossi are the difference, but the owners are saying that Jim and Ernst aren't asking for those types of players. That's definitely not true. And then Franco's feeling like Sugarman threw Ernst under the bus, and you guys are talking through all the behind the scenes of what's, the big decision makers need to figure out. I think the ultimate thing is that has me the most frustrated. Everything that we've seen unfold this season is something that we knew was going to happen. There has not been a single surprise. And I remember, JP, us talking in the offseason. I remember us talking even around those early friendlies that they had against Cincinnati and these early scrimmages. And everything that we were concerned about is exactly what has gone wrong this season. Starting with the depth. We didn't think the team needed to be blown up. This was not a team that had to rebuild and scramble and anything like that. They needed to change something about this unit. And we were frustrated. They were rolling out the same team, and that it had gotten to a point where every other team has evolved and the Union have not. They have not been able to keep up with the times. They've not been able to keep up with the league. And now you see a Jack Elliott and a Jakob Glesnes, two prime examples of guys that have been figured out. You're not getting Defensive Player of the Year, Jakob Glesnes. You're not getting the best defensive unit in the league like we had in the past because you had the exact same back line that you've been seeing. And then on the other side of that, the depth has been a concern. You didn't bring in enough to be able to prepare for not only injuries, because we know injuries happen in every single sport, but this summer season of international games, the Olympics, Leagues Cup, we knew this was coming. We saw last year how the Union hit a wall. 58 games, and by the end, all they could do was squeeze out ties and muster up enough to get a tie. They could not get 3 points. And to now have another season you go into and you don't add true depth. And then on top of that, we've all been knowing it's only a matter of time before they lose some of their better players. Julian Carranza, not a surprise. We saw that coming in the offseason because the rumors started back then. We were talking about Jack McGlynn, Nate Harriel, Danny Gazdag. We knew they were going to lose players, and here they are losing players, and I'm glad they brought in, DJJ. Like, that's great. Danley's been brought in. That's great that Sam's been brought in, but it still is not enough because what is the plan for the back line? What is your plan there to just even bringing in Oliver Zemla? Great. You brought in another piece as a goalie, but you didn't truly prepare for what would happen if you actually don't have Andre Blake for multiple games. One game as a fill-in is one thing. Filling in for the entire start of the season, a whole other beast. So it's frustrating because they are falling into the exact issues. It's like watching, watching something bad happen. You're predicting it the entire way, and they can't seem to get out of their own way. We called this, and the Union have the pieces, but they didn't put in the work to be able to elevate and add to those pieces. They just were complacent, and I'm not going to say cocky, but I'm going to say more too lax and careless about this club. And now you have a situation where guys are not happy. Don't be make no mistakes about it. These players cannot be thrilled because you're losing games that you should be winning. You're not even able to compete. I would not mind if they lost both of those games, but it was a great 90-minute battle. And I know people are going to say, oh, they went to penalty kicks against Colorado. They barely went to penalty kicks. We were lucky it went to penalty kicks. Like, it got to a point of like, oh, please, just can they get through? Like, it just, the second half was awful because they ran out of gas. They don't have the pieces to be able to truly compete day in and day out. And the next 9 games get no easier, which makes it more concerning. So for whatever reason, it feels like they just thought everybody will be better. It's worked in the past. We'll run back the same lineup as every other team. The Columbus Crew are a great example. Look at all that they've been doing as a team. They are a totally different team this year, even than last year's championship winning team. Every season they're getting better. They're making changes. They're changing up their tactics. So extremely frustrating that the Union just rolled out what they had and basically like, oh, go figure it out. Jim, you got this. Go figure it out and find out a way to grind out wins. We're blue collar. We're underdogs. That's enough. That's not enough anymore. And it's time they make some actual changes.
Look, we're all Philadelphia sports fans here. We're 4 for 4. We watch all the other major sports that are in this city. We watch the Eagles. We watch the Sixers. We watch, the Phillies. Did the Eagles go to the Super Bowl and say, hey, this is the team, we're going to stick with this team, and then the next year had the same team come out? No, they made changes. Did the Phillies go to the World Series and say, hey, this is the team that we're going to stick with? No, they made changes. The Sixers, they can't get out of the second round, but they continuously keep making changes.
They're trying.
Because they're trying. So you cannot have this mindset of like, oh, well, this team brought us to the MLS Cup, and yeah, sure, we lost it, but hey, they can do it. No, you have to make changes. Look at the landscape around you. Look at all the other major sports in this town. Look at what they do. Look at those GMs. They make changes. It's time for us to make changes. We didn't need to sell off Jalen Hurts. We didn't need to get rid of Joel Embiid. We didn't need to trade Harper. We needed to add to the team. And now that we're just getting rid of these guys and we're not adding anything with them, we're putting ourselves in a major hole, and it needs to stop. We had a core team. We should have built around that team and added guys, added these really good guys that you see on these really low cost contracts. But we didn't do it.
No.
So now we're in this predicament that we have to sit here and watch these guys that we loved, throughout the years leave us because they're upset. Because just like John said in the comments, he made his exact comment is correct. You know what ruins a locker room? It's not, all these like toxic people. It's that you get into the semifinals, you get into these games, these big moment games, you don't win. And when you don't win, you're not making the change. So these guys who have been there and have been there year in and year out, watching their team get to the same spot, not doing anything, that is what is happening. These guys are upset. They're upset that they're not making these changes to win. It's time now for them to do that.
They're traveling around the world being set up for failure. Like, it's like if any of us are at a job and your boss is continuously stacking the odds against you, telling you, oh, go figure it out, go do your best, but like sabotaging you the entire time. They are self-sabotaging. And to have these situations, it's not even, I want to be clear, because I think for me, it's not even just about losing, because you're not going to win every game. It's how they lose. And when you look at that game against the Columbus Crew, it is so reminiscent of what we saw last year against Inter Miami, where you get to the semifinals and you are not ready. And you get in a game and 3-1 where you have a great play from Danny to score and you feel like you're back in it. And then the reality sets in that Columbus is significantly better than the Union. So it's how they're losing that's extremely frustrating, because you never really had a chance and you're going into it sabotaging yourselves essentially by not providing yourself the best opportunity to at least compete. Forget even to just win, to compete, to make it possible to possibly win. They're not even able to compete. And I know Ivan's mentioning even trouble winners. You look at Manchester City, they made squad changes as well after winning everything.
Every year.
It is extremely difficult year after year, even if you win championships, to get back to that point. You can't roll out the same group and just expect you're going to continue to be successful with no attempts. At least try to bring in pieces. The Union brought in literally no one except Oliver Zemla in this offseason. Everybody else that they brought in, where are they?
Where's Marcus Anderson at?
Where is everybody else that the Union brought in?
Oh, man.
And even Zemla got to a point where they stopped playing him because he got lambasted. Where is every single player that they brought in, guys?
And we're talking about the same things that we literally talked about last year at this time, Renee. We're talking about a congested schedule. They're looking sluggish. Where's the depth? Like, these are things. Oh, we need that difference-making killer. Like, midfield needs a little bit of shakeup. These are things that we literally sat here on this show talking about, and we're talking about it again a year later. And it's just extremely frustrating. Like, you see, like, Wilfred Nancy comes into Columbus in year one, gives Wilfred Nancy everything and more that he needs to succeed, brings him a cup. And then next year brings him the Leagues Cup. It's a trophy. It's money, right? It's helpful. And like, and to my last point with this, like, I see what, what you guys say in the comment section. Like, look, it's not that I don't like what the Union have done, because like, we can't sit here and embrace what has happened with this club over the past couple of years. Making it to Eastern Conference Finals twice, making it to the MLS Cup, playing one of the best, if not the best, MLS match of all time, let alone MLS Cup. All these different things that they have gained, like that's good stuff. I'm not going to fault them for that. And Franco's bringing up the training complex that we're bringing. Look, the team is not going to make any investment off that. That's to attract the best young talent, because again, they really want the best young American talent in here. But what it comes down to is evolving and taking that next step, and that is what we are looking for. And so we'll see. Columbus tomorrow. We have 9 more matches here in the MLS. Let's finish out strong. And that's our strong finish here on PHLY Union Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it. We'll be back next week for a live show. Make sure you guys are staying tuned. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us everywhere on social media. For Renee Washington, and of course, welcome everyone in. Andrew Frazier.
Our newest acquisition.
A newest acquisition. We actually spend money here, guys. All right. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, and until next time, DOOP on, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
We all silly like the mayor.